Hi guys, Virginia here and I'm back with another 12 by 12 process video for you today, and this one's for the Kitaholic Kits design team using the October kits. I was a little bit lost then. Forgotten what month we were in. Okay, so anyway, it's jam-packed full of the Vicky Booten Field Notes collection, and it's gorgeous, it's bright and it's fun, and I'm using one of the exclusive cut files for Kitaholic Kits this month that I've designed. I love them and I love this butterfly, so what I did was I cut it out of some black cardstock pretty much. I was really inspired by those black glossy sticker words and stuff that I showed you in the beginning, and I kind of wanted to repeat that in the butterflies. So all I did was basically cut it in black cardstock and covered it in glossy accents, which was really surprisingly easy to do. And it turned out beautifully. It matches those thickers perfectly. So to kind of go with the Vicky Booten Field Notes collection, there's a lot of mixed media-ish type stuff in there, so I thought I would get my mixed media on. It's not something that I do very often, it's not something that I'm super comfortable with lately, but I'm going to give it a good go. So I'm going to use a white cardstock background, and I've chosen this blue, I want to say it's like a watercolour print cardstock, and I've just torn it to expose the edge and mounted it to the left hand side of my white cardstock, and now I'm just really super quickly not that quickly, but yeah, covering it with gesso on the background. And yeah, so that's dried, and I'm going to use one of the Colour Blast inks that came in the mixed media kit this month. It's blue, it's very intense, it's gorgeous but it's very intense, so I added quite a bit of water to it and then put on some packaging, and I'm just kind of smushing it on the background. So I'm kind of repeating that blue that's on that paper, but I'm going to add a bit of pink now as well. So because there's so much in this month's kits, I wanted to kind of narrow down my choices a bit by just choosing a couple of colours. So I'm going to focus on pinks and blues, because in the photo my husband's got like a bit of it looks bluish kind of checkered top, and my daughter's wearing a blue t-shirt, so I thought to kind of match it with the photo. I thought the blue and the pink would go quite well. So the pink, I'm using some Vicky Booten acrylic paints that we got a couple of months ago. I'm mixing the light pink and the dark pink just to kind of get a good mid-tone, and adding quite a bit of water to it, and then repeating what I did with the blue and just smushing it down with some packaging, adding some splatters, and I'm going to repeat with some splatters in the blue. Okay, just going through that, and then I'm going to add a little touch of gold with some gold Heidi Swapp Colour Shine. Rightio, so that's done. I'm just smushing the gold around a little bit. Not that this would all end up getting covered up, but yeah. Okay, so that's all dry. I've let that dry, and I'm going to work on some photo layers. I'm going to mount my photo first with this blue again to kind of repeat what's in the background, and then I'm going to choose, I decided on this heart pattern paper. I felt like it was the only really one that had pops of pink in it. It does have some orange and some green, but I'm okay with that. So I'm just going to do 2 layers of pattern paper there, and that's it. Okay, so I need to decide where this butterfly is going to go, but I'm going to quickly mount my photo on some adhesive foam so that I can sit my butterfly under it. And now I can kind of try and decide where I want to put it, and I settle with it up there at the top, but I couldn't decide whether to layer it on top of the photo or underneath it, and I end up tucking it under the photo a bit. I think that fits quite well. Okay. Right, now I can get to embellishing. So I'm going through the first die cut pack we have. There's 2 of them and they are crammed. And there's also an exclusive die cut pack as well. So I pulled out that pink note card piece and just chopped off the note card side. I love that for a bit of texture and to add a pop of pink. And before I forget, I'm going to add my title and make sure that's got a good home, and then I can embellish around those larger pieces. Okay, quite happy with that. So I'm going to go through the first embellishment pack, just looking for some bits to add some texture, add some colour. I don't need to add too much. I want those black pieces to kind of take centre stage. Well, they do, they're quite in your face, but just I want to repeat those colours, the pink and the blue. So I've chopped off another little note piece that is blue and tuck that in between my photo layers. I found a pink frame, and I love the pink frame, so I'm going to tuck that underneath the photo. It's going to bring a pop of pink out to the left hand side. And I'm quite happy with that. And then I found a black piece that says good things take time, and I thought that that was perfect. I wanted to include that. It went really well with the photo because it's my husband and Edison planting some seedlings. We all know plants take a while to germinate, so yeah, I thought it was a perfect sentiment for it. So I'm just sifting through the second die cut pack and pulling out a few flowers. I'm just adding a bit of colour. I did put that leaf piece at the top, green, and then I take it off because I didn't want to bring in too much green. There was green in the photo, but it was kind of distracting me down there. This bird I'm showing you, I love the little bird. It is gorgeous, so I popped it down there, but it doesn't end up making it onto the layer. Again, I didn't want to bring in that green. I just wanted to focus on the pinks and blues. So I'm just continuing to sift through those pieces, trying to find bits that will work. Placing that other blue flower with a smaller one, and then adding that larger one up there. And I did trim down that little black and white tree branch sprig just because I didn't want to use the whole thing. I only needed a touch of it. Now these stamp and die sets are from last month's kit, and they're from the Field Notes collection, so I thought it was a perfect time to use them. So I'm taking this little plus or cross stamp, and I'm just going to stamp that around, peeking out from behind a few of those die cut clusters and the butterfly, just bringing some more pops of black onto the page. So that's good, I'm liking that. So I'm going to glue everything down. So I'm going to trim off half of that frame because I don't want to waste it. And now I can start to glue everything down. So I'm just going to put glue basically in the centre of that butterfly and glue that down. Now the great thing about glossy accents is it has a bit of a natural tendency to make things curve upwards or downwards. So I think the smaller you go, it curves downwards, and the bigger you go, it curves upwards. So it was great for the butterfly. I didn't really need to prop it up. Okay, ATG tape and glue behind that photo, and then I can work on the flower cluster up here. I'm going to put foam behind this pink flower just to give a bit of dimension to that cluster. I'll glue that leaf sprig in, glue that pink flower, and then I can replace that notebook paper. And now I can work on this bottom cluster. So I'm going to tape down this giant flower. I'm going to put foam again behind this blue flower, just to prop it up, add a bit of dimension to that cluster. And I realised that I'd put my stamping in the wrong place, so I had to repeat it. So I'm just bringing it out a little bit more so you can see it. And my little bird goes back into the die cut pack. Okay, so I'm going to go through this chipboard sticker sheet. This is from the Field Notes collection as well. It's got a ton of stuff on it. I sat for a very long time reading all of those sentiments, but not a lot of them make it onto the page, unfortunately. I do get a few on there. I love these hearts, the gold foiling on them, so I'm definitely trying to get one of them on, especially because it says love, and I couldn't quite find a home, and then it finds a place on the photo. And then I remembered the exclusive die cuts, so I'm going to sift through them, and I found two butterflies, which is perfect. I've got a pink and a blue one, even more perfect, so they are definitely going to get it on the page. So I'm going to find a home for them in a minute, but I did find a blue one with some black dots, blue piece, so I'm going to tuck that in there. That's bringing a little bit of blue to that cluster down there. A couple of pink hearts, so I'm going to layer them, one on each of those larger clusters. and a blue butterfly there and a pink one down there. I do just have to try to find a home for it so that chipboard piece goes back. And there we go. So I'm quite happy with that. I'm so glad I looked through the exclusive die cuts and found those butterflies. It's kind of repeating that large big back butterfly, so it's not so in your face. Okay, just gluing down my pieces. I'm going to put glue behind these butterflies and other die cuts that I've added. And I'm going to put adhesive foam behind my little sentiment down there, just to pop that up. And I pop that in place. And I found another little chipboard sentiment. It's a blue one to bring a pop of blue down the bottom part of the page. So that just says today. So I'm going to tuck that down there. And I do put a few of these pink puffy hearts, but I do end up taking them off because I felt like the colour, the pink wasn't quite matching with the darker pinks that I had going on in the layout. So I do end up taking them off and replacing them with some black glossy hearts shortly. Another little sentiment up the top there, which just says wonder, so I'm going to pop that up there and glue it down. I'm gluing everything down because there's gesso on my background and things don't tend to stick. So I'm going to glue down these glossy words as well. And I'm going to place glue behind beautiful, and I'm going to curve it kind of around that butterfly wing. These are great that you can kind of manipulate them around shapes. So I am taking those little puffy hearts off, and I go back to the glossy words and I pull out some of those black hearts as well and add them in each of my little clusters that I've got going on. And that just brings more pops of black and kind of reinforces that onto the page. Okay, some more splatters of Gold Holy Swap Colour Shine in a minute. I'm going to cut that cluster down, cut the excess off. And now I can do my, no, I'm going to do foam behind the butterfly wings. Now I can do my Gold Holy Swap, and I'm flicking it over everything. I did think before I put the glossy accents on, I was going to splatter some gold on it, and I thought no, because I wasn't sure how it was going to go, and I wanted the butterfly to really tie in with those glossy words, so I didn't, and I think it would have looked beautiful underneath the glossy accents, but I've sprinkled some on top and it looks just as nice. So there's an idea for you. If you're going to do something like this, try it underneath it. Okay, so I've got that gold glitter scalloped tape that was in the kit as well. So I've punched a couple of hearts, well, not a couple, I've done 3, so I'm going to put 1 in each cluster just to bring in a bit more gold. You all know I love my gold. And then I'm going to glue down those little hearts that I've added on, make sure that they stay on the page. And then that will be pretty much it for my layout. So I hope you enjoyed the process. I hope you're enjoying this month's kits, and I'll see you next time. Bye.